All right, ready to jump into another deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on something called spatial action areas.
Yeah, those targeted zones specifically designed to supercharge development.
Hmm.
And get this, our focus is the Northern Cape Province in South Africa.
Right.
And our main source, their very own Provincial Spatial Development Framework, basically their game plan for growth.
Yeah.
We're talking about finding that sweet spot between boosting the economy, tackling inequality, and, oh yeah, doing it all sustainable.
It's a tall order for sure.
Okay, before we get into the specifics of the Northern Cape, I gotta ask, when you hear spatial action area, what pops into your head? Does it just sound like, fancy zoning?
Well, it's definitely more than just drawing lines on a map.
Yeah.
Think of SAAs as geographically defined areas, sure, but the real magic happens when you choose these areas for strategic intervention, like, creating these high-impact zones.
Ah, so it's not just about boundaries, it's about action, focused action. Exactly. And here's the cool part. It's all connected to the bigger picture. SAAs link directly to national goals, like South Africa's National Development Plan,
Mhm.
which is, all about reducing inequality and poverty.
Makes sense.
But they're also tailored to a region's unique strengths and challenges.
So it's like a customized approach, finding the right recipe for each region, balancing the national vision with what actually works on the ground.
You got it. It's all about understanding the local context, like the history, the resources, and the aspirations of the people who actually live there.
Okay, the concept is starting to click, but help me visualize this. If we were looking at a map of the Northern Cape, what would these SAAs look like? Like, how would they be laid out?
Well, you'd see two main types. First up, we have Provincial Spatial Action Areas, or PSAAs for short.
Okay.
These are distinct regions, each with its own, you could say, personality and a specific focus.
So, like, the province is divided into these development zones, each with its own mission statement.
Precisely. For example, let's take the Coastal SAA.
Okay, the coast.
Yeah, they're all about harnessing the power of the ocean, what they call the blue economy. We're talking sustainable fishing, aquaculture, even, maybe someday, seaweed farming.
Wow, seaweed farming. That's interesting.
They're also looking at renewable energy from wind and waves, and of course, tourism centered around those dramatic coastlines and the unique biodiversity.
Okay, I'm picturing myself on a sustainable seafood tour already.
Sounds delicious.
All right, so we've got the coast. What about other PSAAs? Are they all about the ocean?
Not at all. Each one is totally unique. There's the Gamagara SAA, for example.
Okay.
This area is facing a big challenge transitioning away from mining, which has been their, economic lifeline for decades.
Right.
They're focusing on diversifying the economy, attracting new industries, creating opportunities in things like renewable energy and sustainable agriculture.
That's a huge shift.
It is.
So each PSSA has its own story, its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Absolutely. And then you have the Valharts SAA, which
Mm.
is all about modernizing agriculture. They have this massive irrigation scheme, and they're working to make it more, water-wise and efficient. They're also tapping into heritage tourism, attracting visitors to historical sites like Kimberley, the Diamond Capital.
Diamond capital.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these distinct PSAAs, each with its own unique character and goals.
Hmm.
But you mentioned another type of SAA, right?
All right, we can't forget about those.
What are those all about?
Those are the transformation corridors. Think of them as the connective tissue between the PSAAs,
Okay.
like arteries pumping economic lifeblood throughout the province.
So it's not just about developing these areas in isolation, it's about linking them together.
That's the idea. They're working on enhancing transportation links, improving infrastructure, and making it easier for goods, services, and people to move around. It's all about creating a more integrated and dynamic economy.
Makes sense. So it's all about connections.
Connections are key.
Okay, so we have these distinct PSAAs, each with its own focus, and then these transformation corridors connecting them all. But with all this diversity, are there any common threads that run through all these SAAs? What are the big goals they're all striving for?
That's a great question. And you know what? Despite their differences, there are some major themes that tie them all together.
Okay, like what?
Well, one that jumps out immediately is renewable energy.
Renewable energy, yeah.
Whether it's solar, wind, or even green hydrogen, the Northern Cape is really going all in on sustainable energy sources.
Makes sense with all that sunshine and wind they have.
Exactly. Another key theme is economic diversification.
Okay.
They're moving away from over-reliance on mining and using strategies like agriculture, tourism, and new industries to spread the wealth and make the economy more resilient, less dependent on on just one thing.
Right, building a more diverse and sustainable economic ecosystem.
That's the idea. And then there's infrastructure development.
The foundation.
Exactly. Upgrading roads, rail, ports, energy systems. It's all crucial for connecting the province internally and with its neighbors. It's about, laying the groundwork for long-term growth.
Infrastructure is definitely the backbone of any successful development plan.
You've got it.
Okay, so we've got renewable energy, economic diversification, and infrastructure. Anything else?
Well, we can't forget about environmental sustainability. Protecting biodiversity while developing responsibly is a top priority.
Right.
They're promoting ecotourism, implementing sustainable farming practices, and carefully managing resources, especially in those fragile areas like the Karoo and Kalahari.
It sounds like they're really trying to walk that tightrope between progress and preservation.
Striking that balance is key.
Yeah, making sure that development benefits both people and the planet.
Exactly. And it's impressive they're not just talking the talk, they're actually taking concrete steps to make it happen.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about what SAAs are, how they're structured in the Northern Cape, the big themes that connect them all. But before we wrap up this part, one thing that really stood out to me is the sheer ambition of this plan. They're not just like tinkering around the edges. They're aiming for a total transformation of the province.
You're absolutely right. It's a bold vision.
And it's not just about the Northern Cape, is it?
No, not at all.
This approach to spatial planning, it could be a model for other regions, right?
Yeah.
Regions facing similar challenges.
Absolutely. It's a framework that could be adapted and applied in many different contexts.
That's exciting.
It is.
Okay, we've laid a solid foundation here,
We have.
but we've still got a lot more to explore.
Oh, there's much more to come. Welcome back.
All right, so we've set the scene, laid the groundwork.
We have.
Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and really get into the nuts and bolts of how each SAA is tackling those big challenges. Renewable energy, economic diversification, sustainable development, all that good stuff.
The whole shebang.
Let's start with the coastal SAA.
Okay, go.
That dramatic coastline, the potential of the blue economy, and that big push for renewable energy.
Right.
What's the game plan there? How are they approaching it?
Well, the coastal SAA is all about harnessing the ocean's resources, but in a sustainable way.
Okay.
They call it the blue economy.
Right.
And it covers, well, everything really.
Yeah.
From sustainable fishing and aquaculture to even, maybe someday seaweed farming.
Seaweed farming.
It's becoming a thing.
Interesting.
It's all about more than just, taking stuff out of the ocean. It's about creating that balance between economic development and protecting the environment.
Right. Finding that harmony.
Exactly. They're looking at innovative ways to manage fisheries, promote responsible tourism, and develop new industries that actually create jobs while protecting that marine ecosystem.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
It is. And renewable energy, well, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Coastal SAA has incredible potential for wind and wave energy.
Oh yeah, for sure. All that wind and all those waves.
It's like they're tapping into this whole new way to power their development,
Yeah, harnessing the power of the ocean.
Exactly. And they're not stopping there. They're even exploring the development of a deep sea port at Bogobai.
Wow, a deep sea port.
Specifically designed to export green hydrogen.
Green hydrogen. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What is green hydrogen?
Green hydrogen is this it's a clean fuel source, basically,
Okay.
produced using renewable energy.
Okay.
So imagine turning wind and sun into fuel.
Wow.
Fuel that can power homes and businesses, even vehicles.
That sounds incredibly futuristic.
It is. It is cutting edge technology.
So we've got the blue economy, we've got renewable energy, we've got this high-tech port.
Right.
What about tourism? I know you mentioned the Richtersveld National Park and the Namaqua wildflower season.
Oh, yes. The coastal SAA is visually stunning.
I bet.
The Richtersveld is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, known for its stark beauty and its unique biodiversity.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It's incredible.
And then during the spring, you have the Namaqua region.
Yeah.
It just explodes in this kaleidoscope of wildflowers.
Wow.
It's a huge draw for tourists from all over the world.
Okay, I'm putting that on my bucket list.
Should.
So it seems like the coastal SAA is really firing on all cylinders,
Yeah.
sustainable development, renewable energy, leveraging that natural beauty for tourism.
It's ambitious, but they seem to have a really good plan.
It's inspiring to see it all coming together.
It is. All right, now why don't we move inland to the Douglas to Cakamas SAA?
Okay, inland.
This region's all about optimizing their existing agricultural strengths, you know?
Right.
They have the Orange River, which is it's a lifeline in this arid region.
Yeah, water is precious.
It is, and they're working to make the most of it.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Maximizing efficiency, maximizing sustainability.
Hmm.
They're modernizing irrigation systems, promoting water-wise farming techniques, and boosting agro-processing.
Agro-processing, so adding value to their products.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
And of course, renewable energy is a big part of the equation here too, you know.
I bet. All the sunshine.
Sunshine galore. So they're investing heavily in solar power.
Okay, so it sounds like they're building a model for sustainable agriculture, especially in a water-scarce region like that.
They're definitely on the right track.
That's great to hear.
Okay, so ready for a change of pace?
Yeah, let's switch gears.
Let's talk about Garmagara.
Gamara, the SAA that's facing that challenge of transitioning away from mining.
Right, exactly.
This is the one that really caught my attention.
Yeah, I understand why.
It's a story that's playing out in communities all over the world.
It is.
How do you move away from an industry that's been the economic backbone for generations? That's a tough question.
It's a tough question, and there's no easy answer. But Gamagara is they're taking a multi-pronged approach, you could say. They're attracting new industries, developing special economic zones like the one in Katu, and investing in skills training.
Skills training, yeah. So preparing the workforce for the future.
Exactly, and they're not forgetting about the environmental legacy of mining either.
Right.
Rehabilitating former mining areas is a top priority. They're cleaning up polluted sites, restoring ecosystems, even exploring opportunities for ecotourism.
Wow, so turning a liability into an asset.
Exactly. Sustainability isn't just about protecting the environment. It's about creating a healthier, more prosperous future for everyone.
Yeah, I like that. Turning a challenge into an opportunity.
That's the spirit.
Okay, so we've talked coast, we've talked agriculture, we've talked mining transition.
Right.
Where to next?
Well, let's head to the Kalahari.
The Kalahari. Okay, that's the one I've been waiting for.
I thought you might say that.
I mean, the Kalahari, those incredible landscapes, the unique wildlife.
It's a special place.
I've always wanted to visit the Galagadi Transfrontier Park.
Oh, it's amazing.
See those iconic red dunes, and all that incredible wildlife.
It's a must-see for sure.
All right, so tell me about the Kalahari SAA. What are they focusing on?
Well, the Kalahari SAA is really embracing those natural assets.
Okay.
The Kalagadi Transfrontier Park is a huge draw for tourists, obviously.
Right.
But they're also, they're dealing with water scarcity.
Yeah, that's a big issue in the Kalahari.
It is. So sustainable management of groundwater is crucial for them. And they're tapping into that potential of renewable energy too.
I bet all that sun.
Oh yeah, solar farms are popping up all over the Kalahari.
Really?
Yeah, powering homes and businesses.
It's amazing to see how they're finding ways to develop while still, respecting that delicate balance of the Kalahari ecosystem.
They are. It's a fine line to walk for sure.
Yeah, but it sounds like they're doing a good job of it.
They are.
Okay, so we've got the coast, we've got agriculture, we've got the mining transition, we've got the Kalahari.
Right.
What's next on our tour of the Northern Cape's SAAs?
Let's move on to the Karoo.
The Karoo,
a region famous for its vastness and its starry skies.
Oh yeah, the Karoo. I've heard it's one of the best places in the world for stargazing.
It is.
And isn't it also home to the Square Kilometer Array, that massive radio telescope project?
That's right, the SKA. It's a huge deal.
Yeah, drawing scientists and stargazers from all over the world.
It is. Astrotourism is a booming industry in the Karoo, thanks to the SKA.
Wow, so they're capitalizing on that.
They are, but they're also promoting sustainable agriculture.
Okay.
Like Karoo lamb, ostrich farming, things that are well suited to those arid conditions.
Right, working with the land, not against it.
Exactly. And they're tapping into that growing demand for ecotourism too, offering visitors a chance to experience the Karoo's stark beauty and its unique biodiversity.
It sounds like they're really leveraging their unique assets
Mm,
to create a sustainable and diversified economy.
exactly.
Uh,
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the rural SAA.
Rural SAA,
But
okay.
this one might not have the same, flashy attractions as some of the others.
Right.
But it's the backbone of the province, really.
It's easy to forget about the rural areas when we're so focused on the big cities and the tourist destinations. But
Well, it's easy to overlook them.
yeah, but they're essential to the overall health of the province.
They are, absolutely. The rural SAA is all about connecting those rural communities,
Okay.
improving infrastructure, and boosting economic opportunities in areas that have often been overlooked.
Right, making sure that progress reaches everyone, not just those in the big cities.
Exactly. They're expanding agri-parks, developing the N14 industrial corridor to connect rural areas with urban centers, and supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs.
So it's about empowering those rural communities
Empowerment is key.
to thrive and to contribute to the overall success of the province.
Exactly. And finally, we come to the Valharts SAA.
Valharts, okay.
This one's it's a fascinating blend of old and new,
So,
Well, they're modernizing the Valharts irrigation scheme,
oh,
one of the largest in the Southern Hemisphere,
wow.
to make it more efficient and sustainable, of course.
Right.
But they're also celebrating their heritage, promoting tourism in the Diamond Capital
Yeah.
and Barclay West, which is rich in history and culture.
So it's about honoring the past while building a sustainable future.
You got it. And of course, renewable energy is playing a role here too.
Of course, it seems like it's everywhere.
It is. It really is. Solar and wind farms are popping up all over the region.
Wow, we've really covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
7 spatial action areas, each with its own personality, challenges, and opportunities.
Mm,
It's remarkable how those themes of renewable energy, economic diversification, infrastructure development, and environmental sustainability, they resonate across such diverse landscapes.
it really is. And I think it speaks to the power of a well-designed spatial development framework.
Yeah.
The Northern Cape's PSDF is a roadmap, not just for economic growth, but for a more equitable and sustainable future for all its citizens.
It's inspiring, to say the least.
It is. It is. But we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's always more to explore.
Okay. All right, so we've journeyed from that rugged coastline to the heart of the Kalahari, exploring how the Northern Cape is using those spatial action areas,
Mm-hmm.
like to really map out their future.
Mm-hmm. It's like a blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's time to kind of zoom out, take a step back and see what we can learn from their experience,
Yeah. Look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, the big picture. So what are the key takeaways here? What makes this approach so unique, so potentially transformative?
Well, one of the things that really struck me is that long-term vision.
Okay, yeah, they're long-term.
The Northern Cape's Provincial Spatial Development Framework, it's not just about, the next few years. It's a roadmap for the next 2 decades.
Wow, 2 decades. That's thinking ahead.
It is. It's about anticipating challenges, being proactive, creating a framework that can adapt as the world changes.
So it's like having a compass,
Mhm.
knowing the direction you want to go in, even if the exact path isn't always clear.
That's a great way to put it. And that long-term vision, it's deeply rooted in the local context, too.
Right. They're not just like applying a cookie cutter approach.
Yeah, no, not at all. The Northern Cape's SAAs, they're custom designed for the specific needs and opportunities of each region. They're not just taking, a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
They're taking the time to understand what makes each place unique, tailoring their strategies accordingly.
It's like they're treating each region as its own ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that what works in one place, might not work in another.
Exactly. And it's not just about the economy. No, the Northern Cape's PSDF, it puts social equity front and center.
Okay, yeah, that's important.
It is. It's about creating opportunities for everyone, not just a select few.
So it's about making sure that the benefits of growth are shared widely,
Right.
and that no one is left behind.
Yeah, that's the goal. It's about investing in education, healthcare, social services, creating economic opportunities that really empower people and communities.
So it's about building a future where where everyone has a chance to thrive.
Exactly. A future where everyone can reach their full potential.
And of course, all of this has to happen within the limits of our planet.
Of
We
course.
can't talk about sustainable development without considering the environment.
Absolutely. The Northern Cape's PSDF, it recognizes that environmental sustainability, it's not an afterthought. It's woven into the very fabric of their development plan.
Right. It's not just a box to tick. It's
It
fundamental.
is. They're balancing development with conservation, finding ways to grow the economy while protecting the natural resources that sustain us all.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected, that our actions have consequences,
Right.
and that we need to find ways to live in harmony with nature.
It's about understanding that the economy, it's not separate from the environment. It's embedded within it.
Yeah, that's a really important point. This is all incredibly inspiring, but I got to ask, is it realistic? Can this kind of approach really work on a large scale?
Well, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
It takes commitment, collaboration, and a willingness to think outside the box.
To challenge the status quo.
Exactly. But I think the Northern Cape is showing us that it is possible.
And what's so exciting is that their experience, it could serve as a model for other regions around the world.
It could.
What if we all took this approach, this holistic view of development, thinking about how to create a future that works for everyone while, respecting the limits of our planet?
That's a powerful vision.
It is.
And I think the Northern Cape is giving us a glimpse of what that future could look like.
Yeah, it's like a beacon of hope.
It is. They're proving that it's not just about dreaming big. It's about taking action, making those tough choices, and creating a plan that's both ambitious and grounded in reality.
So what's the takeaway for our listener today? What can they do with all this information?
Well, I think the most important thing is to start asking questions.
Questions, yeah.
What are the challenges facing your community? What are the opportunities? How can you apply some of these principles of spatial planning, long-term thinking, sustainable development to your own context?
It's about taking inspiration from the Northern Cape and adapting it to your own unique circumstances.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a more sustainable and equitable future.
Yeah, we all have a part to play.
We do. Whether you're a policymaker, a business leader, or just an engaged citizen, your actions, they matter.
They do.
And the Northern Cape is showing us that even in the face of complex challenges, it's possible to create a future where people and planet, they thrive together.
That's a beautiful thought. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the nitty-gritty details of those spatial action areas to the broader implications for sustainable development.
It's been a journey.
It has, it really has, and I hope you found it as fascinating and thought-provoking as we have.
Me too. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And to you, our listener, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you some food for thought. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.